But for 2.5 months, he didn't just do nothing. He didn't go away. He didn't suddenly just go away, did he? For 2.5 months, he didn't go away. He stood there and he watched. How many trading experiences do you think he got in that 2.5 month period? Trading experiences is Charlie D's version of practicing taking the 3-point shot or on the driving range. How many trading experiences could he have taken part in terms of visibly, audibly hearing and seeing getting done, being on the floor for 2.5 months? Well, if we kind of look at the market from a, say, a 6-hour point of view, and let's assume that there was something interesting happening every 10 seconds or so. 10 seconds, there's always going to be some bids coming in, some offers coming in to watch. Over the course of that 50-day period where Charlie D did nothing, no trades at all, he probably was able to have about 100,000 trading experiences. 100,000 trading experiences during that period. So when you think about how many trading experiences you have as a part-time retail trader trying to figure out what the hell is going on, just remind yourself that Charlie D took 100,000 before he was able to make a trade decision. He couldn't figure it out for 100,000 experiences. So eventually, those 100,000 experiences started to take their toll, didn't they? They started to actually add up. They started to actually make sense. He started to figure out, after 100,000 trading experiences, he started to figure out how the market worked. A lot of guys come into the market with this very incredible lack of patience. That all of a sudden, within a few days, they're able to buy and sell the markets and make a fortune. Well, within days they're able to buy and sell the market. You suddenly realize that making a fortune is not a given. So therefore, you look at it and say, well, why is that the case? Because they've only done 2 hours of education. They've only done 2 hours of education instead of 100,000 hours or 100,000 experiences of education. Every trade that comes through, every order flow, every lean, every voltic, every book bid, every book offer, every delta, every value divergence is a trading experience. Part of that 100,000 that Charlie D put in to become one of the best traders on the planet. So don't beat yourself up about it, guys. Don't beat yourself up about the fact that you're maybe not where you want to be. It's going to take time. Every day is another opportunity to put more experience under your belt. Small, incremental changes done often make a massive difference to outcomes, guys. Small, incremental changes. You're not going to have that many aha moments. You're not going to suddenly go, yeah, that now I know how it works. You might have a breakthrough, but it's going to be a compound effect. It's going to take its time to start working through. Compounding bad information, compounding mistakes can obviously end the account, entirely end the account. But obviously if you're compounding good information, adding good stuff on top of good stuff, suddenly things start to make sense. Suddenly you start to see the good stuff. I mean, oil's a great example there. We saw a very aggressive sell-side auction. I saw the market makers starting to catch a little bid on the book. And obviously I'm starting to watch that market maker, still heavy sell side, but I'm starting to see the selling no longer as aggressive as it once was. And what happened into the bottom edge? Well, I never got a value change. The value stayed pretty much fair the entire time. Look, the value was in line with the value there, so that looks fair. So when I see that, remember the sell we told you about up here, by the way, so that turned out pretty good. Anyway, yeah, but so the value stayed fair, but look at the auction change. That was a good solid break higher on that candle during that candle break there. It actually took out the high of that red candle. And then we saw a poor auction here. See that red candle there, that poor auction? And all of a sudden you're saying, well, the sellers are finished. The sellers are finished. I can now work into this as the value evolves. And as this candle evolved here, we started to see the value starting to evolve on the downtick. And it became quite easy for you to buy up the oil on this pin here for what ultimately turned out to be a brilliant buy-side swing. Brilliant buy-side swing. One piece at a time, isn't it? One piece at a time. We're not even using the whole crack spread here. We're just using pieces to try and understand the individual elements. We've broken it back down to its basic components again. We're back at the start. And obviously we can improve on the start, but we can't forget about the start. This is one of the most important lines. It's a market internal. It's more important than the dollar. It's more important than the yen. It's more important than gas prices. It's more important than the inflation break-evens. It's the market internals. And because it's the market internals, we can literally run our whole entire day using this one single line if we wanted to. We've covered this in classroom many times before, haven't we? It's the most important lines we can use as the market internal lines. Does everybody agree? Sure. We've covered this in oil. We've covered this in bonds. We've covered this on oil, on gold. We've covered this on I have no idea what else we've covered it on. We've covered it on everything, guys. This is still the H contract, Jack, that we're looking at. We've told everybody about the roll, of course, so that they're reminded that there's a roll taking place as well. But this is the H contract just now. It doesn't make any difference because all we're doing is trading the value line. So it's not going to make any difference to what the contract is we're looking at. There's still some room for this upside oil, guys. I still think there's a little bit of room. So, but that was a fast auction we got coming off the higher price there on the April contract. We got a seller coming in at 79 evens, and it was a kind of fast auction sell. So I'm a little bit concerned about that coming in. So I was hoping to maybe get a retest into the paycheck spring trade down here at 87s, 86s, 85s. But certainly according to the value, I'm thinking to myself, we should be trading probably about 78, 85 up. That'd be reasonable for me in terms of where the value was. However, the value lines just came out a little bit here, and that puts us back down towards the 78, 66s. Well, it's just dropped down to 78, 66s. There we go. So that was exactly what we expected, and that's why I wasn't buying into this as a storyline just yet. See how it's possible to do all this work simply by adding one line and the order flow and the order book and the auction? So if we get back to the basics, we can actually really streamline the process to make sure we're really focused on the key components. Everything else is a small incremental gain. The dollar, for example, is a small incremental gain we can add to this narrative. The Brent oil spreads is a small incremental gain we can add to this narrative. The calendar spreads is an incremental gain that we can add to this narrative. So we can actually start understanding that there are additional ways we can improve our performance on this. But if we can do really well on this alone, we should be able to do better as we develop out a process here, can't we? Or at least we should. So give it a try. There we go. There's the bottom edge as we promised. There's the bottom edge. Market maker's still bullish, bearish there, so we were happy to let it drop down. We knew it was going to trade down into that 66, didn't we? We told you it before it happened. I'm starting to like the opportunity, though. I'm just not seeing a buyer coming in the book to take advantage of the buy at the bottom edge. So I might have to cross this one. I might have to jump into this one. I might have to jump into that. But I haven't got any, unfortunately, we haven't got any sellers yet. So I'd like to wait until we get a seller getting trapped before buying, because a seller trapped, of course, gives us the clue, doesn't it? I think we should be going higher, guys. We should be going higher.